A viral video, a huge fight on an airplane, and a story that has two very different sides. Today, we're diving into the Ibom Air incident that absolutely everyone is talking about, and we're going to try and figure out what on earth actually happened. Let's just start with the aftermath, because it was fast, and it was serious. A 26-year-old passenger wasn't just taken to court. She was handed a lifetime ban from the airline operators of Nigeria. That means she cannot fly on any domestic airline in the entire country. Ever. Again. That is a huge, huge step to take.
So how did it get to this point? I mean, how does a simple flight from Yoyo to Lagos end in a lifetime ban? Well, we have the airline's official statement, and then we have what other passengers on that same flight are saying. And let me tell you, they do not match up. Okay, let's get into it. First up, let's look at the official story from Ibom Air. The airline put out a pretty detailed statement laying out exactly what they say went down, step by step. Okay, so according to the airline, this whole thing started with a very standard safety instruction: turn off your phone for takeoff. They claim the passenger just flat out refused. This apparently led to another passenger turning it off for her, which then kicked off a huge verbal argument. Now, things supposedly calmed down during the flight, but when they landed in Lagos, the airline says it exploded into a full-on physical assault on the crew and later on airport security. And the airline's version of events gets incredibly specific and really, really serious. They allege that this passenger waited for everyone else to get off the plane, then confronted the crew, stepped on the purser, literally tore her wig off, slapped two different crew members, and even tried to grab a fire extinguisher to use as a weapon. I mean, these are some wild accusations. But almost as soon as the airline story hit the internet, a totally different narrative started to emerge. This one came from other people who were actually on that flight. And yeah, their version paints a very, very different picture. So the whole thing, the entire incident, seems to come down to this one initial moment. The airline says she bluntly refused to turn off her phone. But eyewitnesses? They claim she told the flight attendant that her phone was already on flight mode and that she was just editing some videos. This one disagreement, it seems to be the spark that lit the whole fire. And listen to this. This is a quote from someone who says they were a passenger on that flight. They posted, "Honestly speaking, that lady did not do up to 10% of what I would have done. That air hostess is power drunk. That is the word I can use right now." Wow. That completely flips the script, right? It suggests the crew actually provoked the whole thing. And this counter story just keeps getting more intense. Eyewitnesses are alleging that the flight attendant didn't just start the fight, but that she actually grabbed the passenger's phone and smashed it on the floor. They also claim that when they landed, the crew physically blocked the passenger from getting off the plane, and that the flight attendant slapped her first. They even say a pastor tried to step in and was threatened. This version makes the crew sound like the aggressors. So, with two completely opposite stories flying around, what were the actual official consequences? A few different organizations got involved, and their actions really sealed the passenger's fate. Okay, let's break down who did what, because it can get a little confusing. Ibom Air is the one that took her to court. A group called the Airline Operators of Nigeria, the AON, is who issued that lifetime ban. But, and this is important, the main government regulator, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, or NCCA, made it very clear that they did not order the ban. Here's the official word from the NCAA's director. He basically said, look, the NCAA didn't tell the airlines to do this, but the airlines have every right to ban a passenger on their own. So an airline or a group of them can decide to refuse service to someone they think is a threat, and they don't need a government order to do it. And this might be why everything happened so fast this time. The NCAA itself pointed out that in the past, lots of these incidents just turn into he said, she said arguments because there's no proof. But in this case, there was that viral video, and no matter what the context was, it showed something physical happening. And that seems to be what pushed the airlines to act so decisively. But, you know, that same video that triggered all this action, it has now started a whole new separate argument.
The conversation is shifting away from what happened on the plane and towards the ethics of filming it and blasting it all over the internet. The popular singer Simi really shined a light on this. She said, look, the passenger has to face the consequences for what she did, but what about the person who filmed her while she was being dragged and partially exposed, and then posted that for millions to see? She argued that posting that video without even blurring it is a violation of privacy, and that person should be held accountable too. And that just opens up a huge question for all of us, right? In this age of smartphones, we all have a camera in our pocket. So where is the line? When does documenting something bad that's happening cross over into public shaming or, violating someone's basic dignity?
So at the end of the day, we're left with this really complex and messy situation. You've got the airline story about a violent passenger. You've got eyewitnesses talking about a power-drunk crew. You've got official actions like a lifetime flight ban. And then, layered on top of all of it, you've got this whole new debate about justice and privacy in this social media age.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. When an incident like this gets shattered into a million pieces, official statements, eyewitness accounts, viral clips, where does the real story even live anymore? Is it with the authorities? Is it with the people who were actually there? Or is it with the millions of us watching from our screens who then become the judge and jury? That's definitely something to think about.